Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotion, and thank you again so much for our time together. Looking forward to great weekend services with you, Saturday night, Sunday, in all three locations and all the services. And prayerfully that WiMAX is all sorted out. They've been working hard doing 24-hour testing all this week. In fact, I'm told on Wednesday night, some of you actually went and watched River Night in the East Campus because the rains were so hard you couldn't get down to Maine, so you took a chance. And they just happened to be testing the WiMAX. So I hope it worked all right. But we're looking forward to great services all this weekend. Coming out of Acts chapter 17, Paul's arrival in the city of Thessalonica. Some absolutely incredible truths on how to present the gospel of Jesus Christ to people. Right now, I want us to look in Psalms chapter 84, verse 1 for our devotional thought today. One of my favorite Psalms. I just love to read it. Sometimes I make up my own song and sing it to God. I make a joyful noise. I'm not talented like all the singers and stuff, but I like to just sing to God. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord Almighty. My soul yearns, even faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. Even the sparrow has found a home, the swallow a nest for herself, where she may have her young, a place near your altar, O Lord Almighty, my King and my God. Blessed are those who dwell in your house. They are ever praising you. Now, there's so much I could teach you about this, but I just want to talk to you about your love for the house of God. Paul teaches us in the book of Hebrews that we should not forsake the assembling of ourselves together, as is the habit of some. We come to God's house to be with God. We come to God's house, they are ever praising you. We come to God's house because it is in His presence that we really find a home. It is in His presence that we feel like we belong more than any place else in the whole world, because forgive me, we do. One day, we're going to blink our eyes and we're going to be in heaven. And then we're going to understand all those feelings we always had in God's house and His presence. Now, brothers and sisters, I really want to challenge you. You need to be in God's house every week. You need to learn to love God's house. There is a heart's cry within you. David said, my soul yearns, even faints for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. There is something in us that physically, and even our soul, our emotions, our desire, our will, everything within us cries out to be in God's house. Why don't you follow your heart and make sure you're in God's house this week? And wherever you're listening to this all over the world, make sure you're in God's house this week. Make sure when you go to God's house, forgive me, you don't go to God's house to sell RTW, and you don't go to God's house to see the artista, and you don't go to God's house to be with your friends, and you don't go to God's house because you just want to do something silly afterwards for some people. Go to God's house with one desire in your heart. God, I want to be with you today. God, I want to touch you today. God, I want to be touched by you today. Follow your heart to God's house.